Hello and welcome back to the workshop. Today we're going to be taking a look at this PlayStation. This is an SCPH-9002, so this is the last of the fat PlayStations, the good old PSX. So I have no idea what's up with this system. Apparently it works and reads discs, so might be an easy fix, but we'll see. So like I said, it's a 9002 PAL system, so it's it ends with 2, so it's the European model. 9000 is good because it's the last fat model, so it should be in theory the most reliable, even though it's missing the parallel port, so we're missing some functionality, but I like myself a nice reliable system. So if we take a look inside, I've removed the screws already. Well, I can already see it's pretty dirty. There's a lot of dust all over the power supply, but looks good. And it looks like the system has been mod chipped because I can see some wires running across here. That's definitely not stock. Yeah, there's a couple bits missing from the spindle. That's difficult, but that's also part of the reason for it could be that people are taking the discs off the wrong way. But yeah, it's pretty dirty. I'm gonna have to clean this whole thing out. But yeah, it looks good. So let's fire it up. Looks like we have we have a sticky eject button. So I'm gonna have to look into that. But we have pictures, so that's good. Right there on the TV. Let's pop in a game. I'm actually gonna pop in a backup disc because we saw that it has a mod chip. So let's see what it does. Apparently it reads audio CDs, so it might just work perfectly fine. But you probably wouldn't be seeing this video if it just worked perfectly fine. Yeah. I mean, other than this just needs a bit of greasing, maybe a bit of cleaning, and it should be just fine. It's going to be black and white, probably. It's probably going to be black and white because it's an NTSC game in a PAL system. I'm just using crappy composite cables just to test the system. And it doesn't boot. Alright. It was trying. I can definitely hear it giving its best shot, but I feel like our laser might be shot. It seems a bit... yeah. It seems a bit... struggling a little bit. But the motor sounds fine, so at least I think it does. It sounds okay. So I think all we need to do is probably just adjust the laser a little bit. It's very common on mod chip systems because they've seen a lot of use, wear and tear, especially by, CDRs. They tend to run the lasers a bit harder than normal, original games. I will do Gran Turismo here. I've got it here. Gran Turismo 2. Let's see if it boots. Might just have issues booting CDRs. Might be able to boot original discs. It's fairly common. Like if the disk drives are going bad, they can still usually read original discs. Yeah, there we go. It works. Okay. I think we just need to adjust the laser a little bit. Yeah, mod chip systems really do get more use. Not just because the CDRs are wearing them out more, but also Well, statistically, if you know, back in the day, if you had a chipped system, you're more likely to play more games than if you didn't, because you know you'd be able to have more games, obviously. So yeah, I think it's going to be just a simple laser adjustment, and then we should be good. The FIV doesn't even skip at all. That's perfect. Alright, so first of all, I'm going to clean out the system. Actually, you know what? Before we even do that, I might just have to clean the lens. So before I even adjust the laser, I'm just going to try to clean the lens and then see if that helps. But I'm going to clean the whole system anyways, and then we'll see what happens after that. It's going to be a bit difficult to do through my camera's stand, but anyway, so I've removed the power connectors. Actually, I haven't done that yet from the motherboard. So it looks like I have to remove it because there's this thing here. So this sort of looks like it's like some plastic tab that ties the cable to the shield. Gonna remove the controller ribbon cable, and we're gonna remove the power supply. This is just held down by 2 screws. I can see some screw holes that are not populated. There's one here and one. Oh wait, actually never mind. Just this one, because that one is the through the case, but this one is not populated. That's interesting. I don't know if that's needed or not. I don't think I'm gonna put an extra screw in there. I don't really have that many screws like this. All right. So be careful. You know, obviously don't touch it anywhere where it comes up you. So yeah, pretty dirty. Pretty dirty. There's even a bunch of dust bunnies here. So I'm gonna definitely give them a good cleaning. I usually just shower these, and the outcome is always really nice. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and remove the shield. If my screwdriver can stop magnetizing to it. I think these are the same type of screws, right? Yeah. Yeah, I think so. But whatever, I'm gonna separate them. Just in case. That was pretty tightly screwed down. Almost felt like a brand new, like the first removal of that screw, but it really wasn't because it's already mud chipped. And yeah, there's a couple more here. This one should, in theory, have a really small motherboard, smaller than any other ones. I think on the other model, like there's like a 1000 right next to me. I believe the motherboard's like it extends into this area as well. It's kind of an unused space here, and the later model might be part of the reason they decided to make the PS1, the SCPH-100 series. Okay. And I believe one more screw. I can't really see any more than that. It's kind of hard to work like this with the camera stand in the way, but anyways, here we go. So I should be able to just lift this up. Unless there's like some other screws. I don't think I have to remove the controller ports. I think this should just pop out. It sort of does. Okay. We got it out. See how tiny that is? That's amazing. It's like almost half the size of the old ones. So yeah, here's the shield, so I just left the cable in there. That's perfectly fine. And yeah, that's amazing. That's almost as small. Actually, it might be like roughly the same size as the SCPH-102. Let's compare it actually. So this is the PS1, the SCPH-102. It is a bit deeper, So I think the area is actually about the same, because it's not as wide, but it's deeper. Interesting. So I didn't even think they had to do a lot to resize this. They just had to like reconfigure it, just replay, just just move some chips around, and then you have the same area. Whereas a 1000 series would be, that'd be quite huge. This is a 1002 here, and if we compare the motherboards, you can see there's quite a bit of, I mean, look at that, there's even copper tape as shielding, and it extends to that point right there. So that's a pretty huge motherboard in comparison. This thing also heats up quite a bit under load. So yes, that's quite fascinating. All right, I'm going to just remove the motherboard. It looks like it's held down by, why is it only 2 screws? I think this might just have, actually wait, hang on, never mind. The shield I just removed, that's what was holding those down, I believe. Wasn't really paying attention to where they were, but I think that's the case. So I'm just going to remove this motherboard as well. I'm going to remove everything and then just, clean it thoroughly. I'm not going to shower this because of the mod chip setup here. Just going to clean it up a little bit. Only the power supply is going to get probably a bit of showering, but I might not even do that. Not sure. Of course, if you're cleaning anything with water, you have to make sure to let it dry for long enough. You don't want to short anything out and waste a perfectly working specimen. Look at that. That's so cool. There's a bit of dust build-up there. I can easily clean that. Oh, there's some copper tape on the back. I wonder if it's factory, because it's actually like soldered to the board. I guess it is. It probably is. Alright. Yeah. There's just this shield left, and gonna give everything a good bath, and then well, I guess I'll remove the controller ports as well, so I can wash this base. All right. Sometimes doing magnetic screwdrivers is a bit more difficult than it should be. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and, oh, there's even a bit of small shielding here for the controller ports. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and dust it out, wash it, clean it, whatever it needs, and then I'll put it back together and start playing with the disk drive. I've thoroughly cleaned everything, so it's time to put it back together. Pretty much done. Yep, used up all the screws, and as a final touch, here's the nicely cleaned top shell. And I've also greased up the, I've lubed the eject mechanism a little bit. I just had to lube the button itself because that's what was scratching against the plastic, so added a fair amount of lube to make it very seamless. So that's nice. Works perfectly now. I did clean the lens a little bit with a bit of IPA. We'll see if that helped at all, but we're probably gonna have to adjust the laser intensity. So I'm gonna quickly fire up the TV and we'll take a good look at it. See if we made a difference. Well, it's much cleaner now, obviously, but let's see if cleaning the lens has helped with booting discs. Let me see if I can find something. I must have it here. Yeah, this is the disc we were trying earlier. Let's see if that helped. It's still struggling a little bit, but so I think we're probably gonna have to adjust the laser. So this system uses one of the latest lasers. I believe it has an AEM laser, so it should not have the wear and tear issue that earlier ones had until ACM. So AAM, ABM, and ACM. I believe those are the ones that are problematic, and ADM and AEM should be fine. This one is an AEM. So I think all we need to do is just adjust the laser a little bit. Time to check out the disk drive and see what we can find. So it's struggling to read disks. This is kind of an awkward design. I would have to turn it around to be able to easily read values of the disk drive. So I might have to actually face it toward me, which is odd. I've never done that before. So I guess I can measure what kind of voltage we're getting to the laser. The way you do that is you power up the system. Be careful, don't touch the power supply when you're plugging the power in, obviously. That could be lethal. Alright. So, the way you measure voltage to the laser is by rounding one lead. I'm going to put it to the millivolt range, 200 millivolt range, and powering the system on. It's so weird that it's backwards. So you can put your lead to this and then press the sensor. Okay, so we have quite a bit of voltage. I think this is probably a dying laser. I might have to completely replace this because it looks like we have 14 volts going to it. That's a lot. So you have to press the sensor, and then when it's moving the laser up and down, you can see 13.8 volts. Sorry, millivolts. That's what I was trying to say. So the laser is getting 13.8 millivolts. I don't know how high you can go, but that's already like this has already been adjusted, I'm pretty sure, because, well, this is a chipped system, obviously. People do that kind of stuff to keep the system going, but it looks like we might have to adjust it even higher, and hopefully it works. The reason I'm saying that is because it can't properly play burnt discs, but if you try an original disc, it will work just fine, as we've seen in the previous section of the video. Yeah, it just doesn't boot on this one. I mean, I can try another disc, but that one should work just fine. And yeah, let's see. Let's try this back up. This is a PAL game. Let's see if this works. Reset. Be really careful if you're touching anything on the power supply. Don't touch any of the wires, and especially not the live connections. Yeah, it's just struggling to read it. Doesn't really matter what I put in it, as long as it's burnt. It's struggling. And just to make sure that we're not wrong, I'm gonna put in Gran Turismo 2 again. This center is really hard to reach. It's much easier on the old systems. Oh, it's already so much cleaner. The sound it's making is way cleaner. Not struggling. The motor is a little bit noisy, I would say. It's on the noisier side, but it's still working just fine. Except it just gave me the "please insert a PlayStation CD-ROM" message. Alright, yeah. Now it boots. So yeah, it's not the best disk drive. It has seen better days. I have other disk drives I can put into it, so that might be what I end up doing, or I just order a new disk drive from eBay for this one. But yeah, it's at least able to read this disk just fine. But I would say this disk drive is definitely on its way out. So I don't really care about it too much, so I'm just gonna up the laser even more to a point where it can nicely read original disk. Actually, I think this wire, shouldn't this be like outside? I don't know. Like, yeah, I guess it's not really in the way, so it doesn't really matter. It's just kind of odd. Alright, so what I'm gonna do is I'll up the voltage on the laser even more because we're struggling hardcore, and this disk drive is dead anyway, so I'm just not surprising. Like I said before, it's a chipped system. These have usually seen a lot of use, so let's see what we get now. So we've upped it to 14.5 volts, millivolts. I keep saying volts. 14.5 millivolts is what we have right now. Alright. Let's pop in our test game again. See if it boots, or if it sounds any better. Man, this is hard to press. Let me just use like a screwdriver. Still struggling a little bit. Yeah, still struggling. Oh, god damn it, I hate this sensor. I let go of it by accident. Okay, let's try this again. Game is still not booting. So, well, I mean, you know, worst case scenario, I can try another disk drive in this once this burns out. And like, already the motor doesn't sound very good. I've got a bunch of leftover disk drives. The problem is I don't have this type with the right laser. So I need like spindle motors and disk drives, but the current situation is I don't know if I can safely order them and actually expect them to arrive. So we're doing with what we have. So let's up that laser a bit more. I'm gonna go like 15 volts, I think. Let's see if that works. So just turning the potentiometer clockwise, that increases it. I mean, decreases the impedance on the. Oh yeah, 15.4. We've raised it quite a bit, but it's still going. I can still see the laser just fine. So, all right, let's try again. Oh, it's much cleaner now. Yep. Still not perfect, but started way better. I'm still not booting though. I might try another game. Yeah. Whatever. Let's try this one. So with this setting, the laser is probably gonna burn out in like a few months maybe, but I mean, that's still not that bad. I can at least use the system if it manages to boot, but now we're still not booting. Oh wait, we are. It's a different game, let's see if it works. It sounds better though, it's not struggling as much. Still struggling a tiny bit, but okay, it booted. I got a game running. Sometimes, you know, if the laser is dying, it can be very picky on like which disks it's gonna end up reading and which ones it will not. Yeah, it works. FIFA 2001. This one is like a really well-used PlayStation, but that's just, you know, the way it goes with mod chipped systems. So it is playing games, some of them. So I'm gonna leave it as it is right now. But yeah, it plays some games, and it doesn't struggle that much anymore. So I'm gonna call it a success. But I'm definitely gonna have to get another disk drive for it, which might be me ordering a whole new assembly or just using another one, because the problem with this is, so this is a 9000 series system, and this one will run with like a bunch of different disk drives. This will run with the 5500s, the 7500 disk drives, because those have a longer cable. I can even show you. So this, I would put this disk drive in it, but this needs a new spindle, and these are impossible to take off without breaking them. So it will need a new spindle, which I will have to do. But as you can see, this cable is actually like really long. So it works perfectly for this system. But these were designed for the later ones, the earlier ones, where this drive is like located somewhere else. I don't know off the top of my head where it is, but anyways, like the wire will like go underneath. Actually, it might be the same, but actually, yeah, I think it's located maybe in the same place. But like the data cable goes there, right there, as well as the power cable. So the 5000 and 7000 series systems will only take the ones with the longer cable. This will not work in it because the cable's not long enough. It needs to go underneath, and it would not work very well. But at least I can use this in this if I get a new spindle, but I'm out of spindles, so I can't really put it in there. But this disk drive is perfectly fine. It's working flawlessly. So yeah, currently this is the best I can do. And yeah, we will see if I can, in the future, I poked myself with my multimeter. We'll see if in the future I can get a better disk drive for this, because I mean the motor is kind of loud on this one, and it's okay though, it works, but yeah, I have to change out the drive eventually, because this one will burn out at these high voltages. But yeah, that was the repair and cleaning of this SCPH-9002. Hope you liked the video. I'll probably make another video on it eventually in the future if I'm replacing the spindle would need replacing, but I'm not going to bother with that because who knows how long this motor will last. We'll see. But yeah, eventually I'll make a video if I need to replace the disk drive in it. Did you know that the reason that older PlayStations are unable to display NTSC in color if it's a PAL system, or PAL in color if it's an NTSC system, is because they just do not have the right oscillator, and instead they display an off-spec NTSC or PAL signal respectively. So it looks like anything from the 1000 series to the 7000 series does this. They will display NTSC in black and white on PAL systems, but it looks like 9000 is actually capable of displaying it in color. That is, of course, if you're using composite cables. If you use RGB SCART cables for these older systems, it's going to be perfectly fine. They'll be all in color. So, but yeah, the 9000 series, it looks like it's the first one that's able to display color through composite. And the SCPH-9002 also is able to do that. Of course, the only downside of using the older systems with RGB cables to display color in NTSC is that it's going to be off-spec, so you'll get roughly 59.2 Hertz instead of 59.94 Hertz. so the games will play slightly slower. Not sure about NTSC systems playing PAL games. I don't know how off-spec that is, but yeah. Just a little bit of a trivia. Hope you enjoyed the video, and thank you for watching. See you later.